My son had a lot of trouble going to sleep as a child. From around age 3, he would wake up in the night screaming. He always had the same nightmare about a monster crawling out from under the desk which sat opposite his bed. He described the monster as being all black with red eyes and no legs. This recurring dream went on for about 2 years. We took him to see a pediatrician and a child psychologist who thought that he must have seen something scary on TV that traumatized him. We came up with some strategies to help him get to sleep, which included a nightlight, filling the gap beneath the desk with stuffed animals, and relaxing music. This worked for a while, but then one night, not long after putting my son to bed, I heard a piercing scream and rushed into my son's room. The stuffed animals were all scattered across the room, and my son sat in bed trembling with the blanket over his head. He had been so terrified that he'd wet himself. After cleaning him up and putting him back to bed in my own room, I asked what happened. He insisted that it hadn't been a dream this time. The creature from under the desk had literally crawled out and climbed onto his bed, scattering the stuffed animals around in the process. At the time, I'd assumed that he'd just acted out his dream, but I never made him go back into that room again. Once he'd fallen back to sleep in my bed, I washed the sheets and started moving his things into the spare room. I left the desk where it was. The spare room was much smaller and had no air conditioning, but we never had any issues in that room. I felt guilty for not moving him in sooner. I thought that was the end of it, until one day I had a couple of friends over with their children. The kids were all playing hide and seek when we all heard a blood-curdling scream coming from what used to be my son's bedroom. We rushed into the room and found my friend's daughter lying on the carpet in front of the desk sobbing. There were 3 deep scratches across her upper arm. Once she'd calmed down enough to tell us what happened, she described the same creature from my son's nightmare appearing under the desk while she hid and grabbing her by the arm. She said it had long black claws instead of fingers and made bird noises. My friends took their kids home, and I decided that the desk had to go. Up until this moment, I'd never considered the possibility that something might actually be wrong with the desk. I'd gotten it second-hand at a thrift store when we moved into the house. When I was moving it out into my trailer to take it to the dump, I noticed a bunch of strange symbols carved into the wood underneath the desk. I don't know what these symbols meant or what the desk was used for, and I don't want to. I'm just glad nothing bad has happened since.